Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we lost ISIS. Chased away all the flat earthers. You can get 7 hours of sleep.
I doubt it. Probably just be 3 again. Is ISIS coming back, or?
I made
It's
it.
ISIS, he's a faggot. Oh, there he is.
Not a faggot, I'm a lesbian.
Welcome back.
Thank you, welcome. Thank you. Thank you for your nice comments, by the way, Yvette. It's, you know, I try my best, I do.
You're welcome. We appreciate it.
Keep things weird and interesting, at least. Like, if anything.
I like weird. I'm a big fan of weird.
ISIS is the enemy.
I am the enemy.
Trying to make a buck here. Chases away all my flat earthers.
Yeah, I predicted it right with Mark Sargent and Patricia Steer.
Oh, yeah.
Just wait for the moment where they start to actually ask for something, because they will. They all do. They all do.
Oh, yeah, they already have started. I think one of them, Mark Sargent, is doing videos for $10 or some shit, like some subscription-based thing. Have you seen The Clues by Mark Sargent?
No.
The Flat Earth Clues? So how the hell did you get into Flat Earth?
A friend of mine directed me at one of the sites, I think. No, I don't know, actually. Oh, yeah, I did. I stumbled across Eric Dubay.
Eric Dubay.
Yep. That was before anyone was doing it, and there was this Eric Dubay guy there, and I was like, what? This guy's lying. And, yeah.
Another liar.
And then it went to, like, he was lying really blatantly. And all he did was twist the original model that the guy produced in the 16th century or whatever, in the 17th century.
Robotham? Mr.
Yeah.
Robotham, yeah. Just rehashed all that stuff. Didn't even bother to do the experiments.
Not a single one of them. Yeah, and then he started.
One.
Did a very clever, very clever videos. You know, just the whole way it worked. Very nicely slides into your brain and starts urinating. Yeah, just slips right in there. And then there was ODD-TV or something. Yeah.
ODD-TV? Yeah.
And you look at all those guys' histories, a lot of them have removed their original videos, but they're trying to get onto the alien thing, and like they're trying to promote holistic health, and Dubay's case, you know, he's trying to do all this sort of, you know, weird, I don't know, real culty kind of martial artsy stuff, and Yeah. And they realise, oh, I'm not getting hits. And then you see him create this one video where he got like 36,000 hits. And he thought, oh, if I just talk shit, then people like that. Okay. And yeah, then he started doing the flat Earth. But his videos went back like 6 years, 7 years.
Yeah, he's been doing it for a while. But he
Yeah.
he had the Robotham stuff, in the trunk, I suppose.
Well, Dubé
Recycle
was
that
trying.
shit.
He had a book. He was trying to sell his book, the 200 Flat Earth Proofs.
Oh yeah, I
And
actually have that free on PDF or something. I think he
yeah,
released it free on PDF.
yeah, because everyone was saying, you're just trying to sell your bloody book. That's why you're doing all this.
Let me tell you how
So
much effort he put on that book. Maybe 3-4 days. That's it. Because there's
yeah,
already a book called The 100 Flat Earth Proofs, and all Eric Dubay did was just name the same shit, multiple times. Like this lighthouse, that lighthouse. Like there's 30 lighthouses, and they're all 30 different proofs. I don't know
yeah,
how it works.
lighthouses don't prove much at all.
Yeah, now that we know light bends in the flat Earth community. Hey, Nick, what's
I
up?
wish.
Nick's not gonna
Hey,
like
what's
it.
up, Hal? What's up, Cysis? No, I'm good. I just woke up. I'm gonna chill and listen.
Absolute Daume. Oh, interesting image you have there.
Yeah, I googled ancient Earth model, and that's what came up. And I just edited it. Do you know what whose culture that is? This thing I got.
It's fake, but it's Daume. It's Chinese.
Yeah, it's
Buddhist.
definitely. I wouldn't say it's like a physical reality, but it's what people perceive to be their Earth back a long time ago, and the Earth is what you perceive it to be from your own
Yeah,
culture's point of view, or how far you've been and what you've seen, really.
yeah. It's pre-optical, pre-days of optics, the telescopes and such. Back in the dark ages.
All these ancient symbology. Um, only the good ones really survive and make it into modern day. So we see a lot of dragons. I want to know
Mm,
about dragons, Isis. Tell me about dragons.
Dragons represent different things in different cultures, but there's an interesting parallel that you've got dragons in Old English, but they also communicated with the ancient Chinese, so they actually got it from the Chinese, and the dragon represented um, the unknown lights in the sky,
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
the sleeping dragon,
Cosmology.
it's called the cosmology, yeah. Yeah, the dragon breath, but it was also represented being the force of nature, whirlwinds, cyclones and tidal waves and earthquakes and volcanoes and stuff.
Yeah, it's always
Yeah,
depicted as a monster.
yeah, yeah. And the dragon, but there's also the allegory that dragon is the more common accepted Chinese version is just smoking heroin. Chasing the dragon, as it's called.
Yeah. Puffin the
Yeah,
Dragon, Magic Dragon.
yeah, Puff the Magic Dragon. Yeah, who lived by the sea. Yeah, yeah. China's a strange place. I mean, did you know what China did quite a few years ago to cure heroin?
Cure
That's,
heroin.
yeah,
I didn't know
yeah,
heroin was a disease.
yeah. They wanted to cure heroin addiction, and
Well, they use LSD.
oh no, no, you gotta think communist China style. They
Ah,
said, oh, we're gonna cure for heroin, so just turn up at this clinic, 28,000 like 400 people, shot them dead. There you go.
whoa.
You're not addicted to heroin anymore because you're dead.
Oh,
And then they
wow.
sent a bill for the cost of the bullet to the family with the body. You owe us $1 for the bullet.
Yeah. It's fucked up.
It's just so horrifying. I mean, China still do capital punishment. A lot of stuff doesn't come out of China. They still do capital punishment. Yeah. It's just not a big fanfare, but I think they kill on average around 1,700 a year through capital punishment.
Well, they probably don't have the prison system to support them.
Yeah, it's horrifying. Really horrifying.
I was going to say in China, if somebody messes up with their job and causes an accident, they see it more honourable to commit suicide than to go to jail or whatever. They see it as a massive dishonourability to mess up their job. So
Really? That's in China or Japan?
that could be in Japan, but definitely Asia. Well, that part of Asia.
Yeah, Japanese people love to kill themselves.
Yeah. Seppuku. Cut the gut. It was like that train accident in China. The officials were so concerned that it would expose the corruption that they started to actually bury the train while the dead bodies were still in it. Like, they just brought in excavators and started trying to bury the entire train next to the track with like 84 bodies still in it. And it exposed this massive corruption where the transport minister had actually stolen like, was it close to $4 billion? $4 billion. Like, you know, no small amount of money. Yeah, and the transport system cost them like, was it 52 billion?
Is
Some
it the
scary
rocket,
amount of money.
the bullet train?
Yeah, and it shows like the transport minister shaking hands with like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mick Jagger. He was bringing them over, like paying them to come over and meet him. And they're like, yeah, I'll fly over there for 300 grand, no problem. God, it'd be good to be famous, wouldn't it? Every arsehole wants to suck up to you, hang out with you.
I bet that was when Arnold was a mayor or governor or whatever. Governor.
The governor? No, it wasn't. It was only like a year ago. Yeah. Dragons of plasma. Chinese red guard cannibalism. Oh wow. Yeah, apparently China's. I mean, it's the old running joke is what's the name of the Chinese secret service? You know, like what's the Chinese, special command? What's the name of it? People are like, I don't know exactly.
China's Secret Service?
Yeah.
CSS?
Well, nobody knows. That's why they're so secret. Or they don't have one, but yeah. Nobody knows their elite operatives or even the name of their elite army. No one knows. Because, you know, China know how to keep secrets. I'm being told to change my profile picture to what now? Gerald, you're digging up about me, and that's not right. I'm not leaving a breadcrumb trail at all. There you are, doing things and stuff. No, I'll leave a breadcrumb trail. I'm not hiding. You like that one? That's my old one. That desktop. What? It's black? No, it usually shows a picture, but I turned it off. I'm looking for a new picture today. I'm being exposed. You see my some of my work on my desktop. I'm supposed to be working on it right now, but I'm being lazy, doing all the icons and stuff for a basketball team. I just can't be bothered finishing it today. Got another couple of web banners I'm supposed to be doing as well. I'm getting behind. Too much
Oh,
work.
you do graphics work.
Yeah. Just on the
Can,
side, something to do.
can you make me a flat Earth model?
No. No. You don't
Why
want me
not?
getting involved in that. Because I make it really convincing, because I want to polish it and make it awesome. Like, you know, like
No,
it'll
no,
be
no,
like
no. No,
a disc.
there needs to be no physics behind it, okay? That's how they like it.
Oh, okay. That's easy.
It doesn't have to be accurate. It doesn't even have to have stars.
Left, it's got my name on it, yeah. Well, I mean, then you could cross-reference that and go and, you know, go Facebook and you could find out all stuff about me. Oh,
I don't think
Hey,
you
so
use Facebook.
what would you say? What do you like about your country, Australia? What's the best bits of Australia in your opinion?
the amount of people that come here as tourists is like really awesome. Like the amount of exchange students, like backpackers and stuff we get, like young people that come here. Because, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of people travel and they learn a lot, don't they, traveling across Australia, especially learning to survive because how hot it is, how much water you need. But it's a booming cultural, like in a cultural sense, and especially with the opera house. Have you heard of Flight Facilities, the music band? They were playing live in the opera house recently. They're a good band.
Yeah, well, they've got to be to play at the Opera House for sure to get, you know, some airtime there. It's very hunted, very sought after place to play. It's good for
Do
recordings.
you surf, Sizes, do you surf or swim much in the sea? I wouldn't be able to swim in there unless they had like a net to net away the sharks.
It's funny you say that.
I'm not down to being bitten by a shark or even a small one.
There are shark nets. There are places where you can swim with shark nets. Um, you don't, you know, shark attacks aren't that high. You got more chance of dying in a car accident than you do of it being attacked by a shark. I actually saw a shark right at my feet the other day when I was out swimming. Yeah, I do surf and I do swim. And it was a grey nurse. It was fairly big, I guess. I don't know. It was about 8 foot, 9 foot.
They're quite
Yeah.
peaceful looking, aren't they? Than nurse sharks. They're the least intimidating. But I don't know what
Yeah.
I'd be more inclined to do: get on an aeroplane to Australia or get in the Australian Sea. I think neither of them.
Yeah, I mean, most people, you know, they'd see a shark and they'd be running across the water. But no, they don't. I mean, where I used to surf a lot was where the biggest shark in the world was caught. Not far from it. I actually went to school with the son of the guy who caught that shark, Vic Hislop, and
Is there a famous picture of it with two fishermen and it's like strung up on a big hook and it's really fat? It's almost as
yeah,
wide as it is long.
it's monstrous. Yeah, it's really big. Like you could bite a car in half, kind of thing. Absolutely massive.
I would definitely eat some shark though, and some crocodile. Have you tried your own crocodiles, Isis? Because you've got plenty of that, haven't you? Or alligators, I mean.
Yeah. You can buy. No, they're crocs. They're not alligators. That's American cowardly animal. We've got crocs here. You know, alligators are saltwater, I think. I don't know, but we don't have alligators. Crocs are huge, and yeah, you can buy croc meat. It's about $20 a kilo.
All right,
If you go to the right place.
what's the best meat? Shark, croc, or kangaroo? Out of those three,
Kangaroos probably like eating a rat.
a rat.
Yeah, I'd definitely say it's like a big rat. You know, they're part of the same family of animals, a kangaroo and a rodents.
Yeah.
So stuff
Yeah.
that.
They're giant super rodents. You know, That's pretty much what they are. You can get room meat. You can buy room meat for your dog if you like. They do a lot of culling of roos because they're in plague population all the time.
Yeah, the class
But
is a pest, isn't they?
yeah, they are. Yeah, and it's people are disgusted that we eat the the animal that's on our coat of arms. But whatever.
He's like,
I
says,
thought
how do you feel about the bullfrog situation? That makes me laugh. Sorry, Healthy, but
Cane toads, yeah, man, that's crazy. That is something really unique about Australia is cane toads. You'd be driving along the road in the middle of the night and it'd just be pop, 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 because there's so many toads on the road and they're exploding under your tyres. It's hilarious. You go out at the right time, and yeah, they're
yeah,
everywhere.
because someone in Britain shipped over some of these frogs to kill some of your bugs or to uh, cut down a certain amount of bugs, and the frogs just took over, killed all the other frogs, ate breed everyone, and no other animal can eat them because they secrete poison on their back. So they've
Yeah,
literally just taken over Australia.
yeah, they are. They're moving slowly, moving down, and they're absolute plague proportions. Like, and you're right, they destroy everything. They destroy everything, and they're introduced too. They're not native. So yeah, it's horrible. The
I look
I
at
mean, good thing about
the
Australia is you get
kangaroos.
big beaches, man. Like you can, like I can go up to my friend's place up in Mackay and you won't see anyone all day, not a single person, and you won't see any cars or anything. Like if you really love isolation, Australia is really good for it. You can be so isolated, and at the same time, we've got the cities and all that. So yeah, it's really nice. Especially, I mean, you obviously sound like you're from England, and that's fairly congested. I can't imagine going on a beach where there's like 300 people. I've never known what that's like. I've never known what it's like to have a super crowded beach like what you see in Italy and stuff. It's just madness to me. Because you see 20, 30 people on a beach, you just move on to the next one. So you find one that's kind of isolated. But yeah,
Yeah, it depends what you want to do. If you want to like eat an ice cream and hear all the noises and see people having fun, then it's nice to be on a busy beach. But if you just want to swim and concentrate, then it's nice to have an empty one. But I used to watch Bondi Beach all the time. I used to love it. That beach is absolutely jam packed, isn't it?
yeah, that's because that's right on the edge of Sydney. And you've got Manly Beach as well, but Bondi is very popular because the girls can walk around without tops. It's a topless beach, so it's very popular for the young girls to go there and get, especially girls from say Czechoslovakia and whatever. They're into it. They'll just come here and strip off basically and sit around on the beach because they love it. You get a good healthy tan.
Yeah, it's strange, you know, when you see like boobs, like they're all white, tanned around. It's like go and sort that out.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't be a stranger to this country because I mean we're a part of the Commonwealth, so we've all got the Queen's head on our coins. So English guys fit right in, and Aussie girls love English guys for some reason. I don't know why, but yeah, there's a lot of English people over here as well. A lot of Poms, mate. Yeah, you could bump into quite a few actually.
Do they call them poms? Yeah, is that an Englishman in Australia?
Yeah, no, yeah, we call them Poms. You guys are Pommies, prisoners of Mother England.
Yeah, that's cool. I'd definitely love to go to Australia. I'd have to take a ship though. Any idea how long a ship would take to get from Britain to Australia?
I don't know. Don't know to be honest. The flight. Why not fly? Is that scary?
To be honest with you, when I found out, well, when I started getting into flat Earth and the last few airplane crashes, them getting missiles down, I almost like vowed to never get on an airplane. I would take a ship. No matter how, if it took me 2 weeks, I would still take a ship over an airplane because I don't want to die in an airplane. I don't give a damn how nice the destination is. It ain't worth crashing and dying like that to me. I know it's a bit ridiculous, but I just don't want the possibility to even enter my reality.
Have
of
you
fucking crashing.
thought about kind of like knocking yourself out and then getting on the plane?
Yeah, I think I sometimes I dream about it, like going to the airport and stuff, and I'd have to get drunk, really drunk, eat all the best food I could. Probably have to have enjoyed myself before as well. But then, yeah, I think I would, but it'd have to be no turbulence, no countries with missiles waiting underneath on the way. You know, if the flight path is safe over safe countries, then I'd give it a try. But it's all I don't know at the moment.
Just fly Qantas, man. Yeah, I doubt any terrorist would shoot a Qantas plane down because they'd get themselves in a lot of trouble. And the bloody Jews. I mean, the Jews shot the last plane down, didn't they? They get busted for that? The Israelis?
Nope.
Oh, that's fucking bullshit.
Nope.
They get away with bloody murder, don't they?
Oh yeah, even when they kill the U.S. people, USS Liberty or whatever, they got away with that.
What the heck? That's disgusting.
And they shot down an Iranian plane.
Yeah, I mean, that's the next enemy, isn't it? The Jews all want to take out the Iranians next.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. God, I'm glad they don't have nukes. Because they'd be the first people to use them. I mean, regardless of what you think, you know, they have terms for people who are not them, and they consider themselves to be superior to everyone. If you get not into the sort of belief systems, and calling people goyim and all this, that's, you know, when you get into the nuts and bolts of it, you see this like orthodox people running the show. It's horrifying.
Yeah, 'cause like back when I used to believe in aliens or used to watch it, I used to be more of an optimist. You know, I used to think, oh, if somebody tried to arm a nuclear weapon, the creators or the aliens, the UFOs, could step in and do something. Because if you remember that nuclear meltdown, they made out that there was alien spacecraft seen above it, and they almost made out that like aliens lessened the damage caused by the nuclear meltdown. So that used to make me feel better, but now I just don't have a clue.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the nuclear disasters aren't nearly as bad as, you know, what we've done as far as atmospheric testing and underground testing goes, but I don't think they've got nukes in Israel. I'm pretty sure it was agreed among all of us that that would be a very bad idea to have nuclear nuclear
Israel?
capability in the Middle East. Yeah, just in the
Are
Middle
you?
East, we don't want any of them to have it.
No, they have tons.
Of nukes? I thought they just had
Yeah.
tactical nukes, like not actual
No, no,
nukes.
no, no. They've the UN filed sanctions against them like many times for having excessive amounts of nukes.
And if they start fighting with Iran, Iran's been running some serious amounts of centrifuges for years, because they've been processing yellow cake for Russia, especially during the Cold War. You know, they've got some pretty big underground installations running these centrifuges. And you're not talking like a couple of hundred of them, you're talking thousands of them. And so Iran would definitely have a very, very powerful nuclear capability, and I think the Jews know that. And if they
Why,
started
why,
this
aren't
shit
they,
against
why
Iran,
don't they look at the Hiroshima damage? You know, the people running around with their skin falling off, the shadows engraved into the floor with people with vaporized. You know, the detrimental effects. You know, the people being born with, they're born all messed up because of the radiation stuff. You know, you think if you was in charge of any kind of civilization, you'd look at that and think, oh, this is a bad idea. But no, they just want to intimidate and be a big ass fat bully. Like, it was just disgusting.
yeah, it'd be a good time for the you know, hopefully when we have a king of England, like a man, that he will be more of a, you know, have more of a, you know, more of a say in things and more of a, you know, a voice. Because I mean, you look at the countries involved with the monarchy, we've always been very in the background of things, and we've never been causing big wars and manipulating currencies and doing all this nasty bullshit, you know. Even though the House of Windsor is definitely one of the farming houses, but
Yeah, but you
it's
won't
sort
see
of
Iran and Israel, go into Africa and help them to sort like feed Africans and stuff. Like, the British monarch does many, many things for different countries in a positive way. Especially Harry and William and all. They're good people, you can tell. So yeah, I understand where you're coming from.
yeah, it's a terrible thing. I mean, I know that Iran were creating yellow cake through centrifuges, and there's a lot of propaganda that's been placed years ago because the next target by the world banks is Iran. That's who they're after. And Iran's probably the last target before they bring in their so-called golden age, which is where they rule the world.
They're
Their
not gonna go
banking,
after China and North Korea.
they're already owned, all of
No,
them.
China and North Korea they still have independent banks, central banks, right?
I'm pretty sure China's a part of it.
Ooh.
Yeah, they're getting their money from somewhere. Otherwise, if they weren't, they'd be the enemy. We wouldn't be buying made in China. There'd just be no way. We wouldn't be feeding them so much money. Yeah. The official position is that they don't. What, Iran don't have nukes? Sorry, Joe, I'm not reading everything you're saying here.
Oh, he's talking about Israel, probably. Yeah, that's always the official story. How in the
Yeah.
fucking world? They don't have nukes?
Yeah, well, I mean, China is, what do they call it? The Great Dragon, the Sleeping Dragon. And they say, don't wake it up. You don't want to wake the Sleeping Dragon up. Like, get them involved in a war, because that would be horrible. The story I read that was the most profound to me was during an argument in the UN. There was a heated argument with, China backing Vietnam. This is back in the 70s, and the Chinese representative says, you don't have enough bullets, to the American, UN official. And he's, what do you mean? He goes, you don't have enough bullets to kill our country. Like, and when you run out of bullets, we'll send in the men and we'll hit you on the head with sticks. We'll send all the men to your country and we'll hit you on the head with sticks. And when all the men are dead, then we'll send the women and children. And the Russian looks over at the American. And he's like, "Don't fuck with him." The American, you can see him take his earpiece out, and he turns to his advisor and he goes, "Is he right? Like, do we have enough bullets?" And he's, "No, we have enough. We have enough ammunition for 3 days of frontal combat." Yeah.
Then someone said, let's try and pacify this situation. We have a nutter in the room.
Yeah. But the Chinese, like, he's like, "We'll hit you on the head with sticks." It's like, what the fuck? They've just got so many people. They could get away with it. Then you can see a movement in the American industrial military complex. You can see a huge shift from nukes and frontal warfare combatants to chemical warfare, biological warfare, and tactical nuclear warfare, and really, really, amping up the air force, because air superiority wins the day, as we all know. Yeah. As the English proved in World War II, he who has the best pilots wins. And the English pilots were remarkable, absolutely remarkable. You see those guys in those Spitfires, and it's just incredible to watch. The Americans came to the party late. They didn't get to show off with their Mustangs.
Yeah, they were ridiculously brave, weren't they? Our British aeroplane flyers back then.
Yeah,
And
even to this day.
It's unreal the progress they made just in there. Like, I know it's sad they had to bomb stuff, but they were certainly good at it.
Yeah. You see those blokes flying down the Nom and them going under the bridge, and it's like, my fucking God. And they're like Formula One drivers. They're just fearless.
You can feel the adrenaline, can't you? Just watching what they're doing, like, it's insane.
Yeah. The Dam Busters. My God, that was insane. Absolutely insane. Yeah. But they say China, I mean, I've read stuff about China, and it's scary what they've got in, military prowess. I mean, they have a standing army of 28 million. They've got more than the population of Australia as a standing army as a marching, walking army working in the force right now, and that's just their army.
Imagine all of them pointed up and shot at the same time. It would be like that 300 film. The sun would be blocked out by bullets.
Yeah, by bullets. It's just scary. And they've got these humongous hovercraft-style skiff things, and they're capable of landing 100,000 men. They can stuff 100,000 troops into these giant skiffs, and they've got 7 of them, and they can basically land 1 million troops in one landing. I mean, that makes D-Day look like, it's mind-boggling. And then you look at the amount of ships
they have. They got a craft that'll take 100,000 people.
100,000 men. Yep. These humongous hovercrafts. They're half a boat. They're like. Have you ever seen the Arachnoplan?
No, I haven't heard of it.
Oh God, you've got to see the documentary about that. The Arachnoplan or Arachnoplan. The Russian. It was a top secret Russian. It's what these things are. It's like it doesn't fly, but it doesn't swim. Like it's not a boat, but it's not a plane, and it's this massive, heavy, super heavy lift ship that's capable of incredible speeds across water because it's a jet-powered boat, but it doesn't sit in enough water to actually. Oh, it's an incredible thing, absolutely incredible to watch, and you can see the Russians spending phenomenal amounts of money on this monster, and it was done by one of their best aeronautical engineers. And they say the Russians shelved it, but people suggest that China picked it up, and it was to carry tanks and men, and these things are massive, absolutely massive. Yeah, so it's a floating football stadium.
That's a huge floating target, though, isn't it? If it was ever come into use. Fucking hell, imagine someone bombed that. They'd kill 100,000 in one go.
Yeah, I mean, these days, if you fuck with America, you're fucking with England, France, Germany, Australia, New Zealand. You're fucking with everybody. So China's got a.
Don't forget Canada, even though they do fuck all.
Yeah, Canada. Yeah, I mean the French Air Force blew my mind. How they've got the hatches, and they don't have runways because of what happened with Germany. They thought, well, let's not have runways. So they've got a hatch that opens, and Harriers just come out of this hatch. Vertical lift, just boom, 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 come flying out vertically out of this hatch, out in the middle of a forest. That's unbelievable. The military prowess of some countries is incredible to watch. And, everyone's focused on the big kids, but, yeah, some of the smaller countries have some amazing tech.
So do you guys think America will ever go to war against a country that's not based on oil or the Muslim countries, like Russia or Turkey or a European country? That would be insane. I hope that never happens.
Oh no, Americans are pussies. You see, they only go after countries that can't defend themselves.
Well, you can say with the Americans, they're very clever with tactics. Well, yeah, I mean tactics happens below the shoulders, and strategy happens above the shoulders, as they say in sort of a Sung Stu style. But I don't know, like some of their stuff, like starve a country for 9 years, then bomb it from above. Set up trade embargoes, starve the crap out of them. So they're very clever at getting infiltration and misinformation and shutting down the country from within, using the CIA and all that sort of stuff, all those kinds of tactics. But when it comes to, no one can truly say with frontal combat. I mean, Vietnam was a massive failure. 550,000 troops, 8,200 casualties, and it was just a big balls up. They never won anything, So.
Do you think Earth is growing out of war? I think we are. I don't think there's as many people being shot by army soldiers as there was the last 80 years or something.
Yeah, I mean, Americans are geared up for war. I mean, the Northern Command alone, just the Northern Command has 280,000 people working there. So, they're a very militaristic nation. If you view them with objectively, you can see a very powerful militaristic nation, and they might promote freedom in that, but they seem to be very oppressive when they're, staring at someone else, telling them what to do and infiltrating their country and stealing all their dough and their resources and stuff like that. So it's scary. I mean, Russia couldn't take down Afghanistan in 1989. America can't take down Afghanistan. So, and there's still shit going on there, and the Afghani people, they just will not let us have that lithium, and we're just there to try and steal all that lithium rather than just ask them for it. And people are like, what, lithium? Well, yeah, man, we're going to run out of oil one day, and we're going to run our cars on batteries, and those batteries will use lithium. We're thinking ahead.
Didn't Afghanistan have plutonium as well?
Yeah, but it's mainly lithium. There's so much lithium there, it's scary. That's what we're after. That's what the Russians are after as well. But it was the Pope. The Pope said, if you look at the history of it, I think it was 79 or 89. I think sure it was 79. But the Pope said, go get them. And they sent 20,000 troops. None of them came home. Yeah, secret wars. You know, it's like the anti-Muslim hate. You know, they're all trying to make the Muslims out to be the evil empire, but we're invading their country. They're just defending their land, and we call them terrorists and that because we're fucking.
Yeah, like have you seen their villages? They're just farmers running around with AK-47s, like just living their own culture. I don't see what the big deal is. Yeah. They're fair enough on the human rights side. They shouldn't be enslaving people and decapitating people for not believing the Sharia law and all that stuff. As far as stealing from them and kept bullying them. And, because what war is like, you take over the country and you take all their shit off them. That's not fair, is it?
Yeah, it's horrible. And then you can see sort of a clandestine plan to introduce Muslim culture to other countries, and then smear them with the media, and make them out to be not really. You get this sort of extremist group, but you get extremists in every group. So, but they just sort of focus in so hard on these Muslim extremists. Who, if you oppress someone bad enough, it's like, you punch into the kid while the teacher's not looking, and then when the teacher bothers to look, he punches you back, and you're like, see, he's beating me up. That's kind of what, what the Israelis are doing.
That's why I say the EU migration crisis is about as well. They've allowed all these people to come in, cause a bit of havoc, all of a sudden they look like the enemy again, and now we can invade a bit more.
Yep.
That's
get them, and it's manipulation. It's gross mass manipulation. Yep. No, we just can't leave them alone. Yeah, look at the Crusades. We have never left them alone. Always, jealous of them. They've got all the oil, they've got the hemp, and we're like, no, fuck you. We want that shit. It's ours. Yeah. And it's then you realise that, everything's run by Rothschilds, not everything, but, all the big powerful bankers, and they own whole nations, so it's very easy for them to manipulate public opinion by all the media, and you can see all the media outlets being owned by, these old Jews, and, they have it in for the Muslims because that's their neighbour, and they hate the Muslims because of the Pillar Rock, because the Muslims built a mosque there like 600 years ago, because the Jews all ran away. Now that they've got it back, they're like, yeah, kill them all. It's horrifying, man. They're all for paper, of course, just printed paper. They're all killing each other over.
That reminds me of the Mike Rockefeller mystery, the son of the Rockefellers who went on an adventure to I think it was Peru or Papua New Guinea, and supposedly, he went missing, and they don't know whether he got eaten by cannibalists or that he just ran away and joined a tribe. Anyone know about that?
Yeah. He totally disappeared.
I still haven't decided. I don't think he got eaten, to be honest. I think he escaped his family. But it's strange how they say all these 1% satanic people eat people and stuff, and this Rockefeller guy was off to learn about the people who eat people. And he was collecting pieces of art made out of trees, because this tribe, they cut down a tree and they carve all patterns into it, and they treat it like a soul. It's a really important piece of art. He was collecting them and living there he was there for like a good year or something, but then he just disappeared. Nobody found him. But there is one bit of information saying that people have seen him rowing down a stream with a tribe, but there's no evidence.
Yeah, yep. And then there's that whole study, what they call it, cannibals with cutlery, and they're talking about cannibalism in the highest, echelons of government, or in the power bases, like you sort of these houses like House of Windsor, House of Rothschild, House of Rockefeller. And they're saying that the highest up perform acts of cannibalism and blood drinking and all this kind of craziness. It's very telling, isn't it, when he goes and studies some of the first cannibals.
Yeah, I wouldn't spend any emotional energy on cannibalism in them rich people's things. I just see that as La La Land bullshit propaganda to make everything else seem just as stupid. So nobody ever demands the truth because they're all eating each other anyway, and it's all bullshit.
Yeah, smoke and mirrors, isn't it? And it's easy to just coat it all with bullshits, and it impregnates. It's like the 15th century satanic cults, that you create a whole bunch of mysticism around your, orgies and drug abuse in mansions, like acting like rock stars. So then the everyday man on the street is kind of a bit scared of going near them, and you don't fuck with those people. They're bloody, they'll kill you and eat you, and it sort of goes in part and parcel with, witches and vampires. It's the exact same thing. From the orpires of the druids having their burial mounds, and the vampires lived in them, and you don't go down in there and disturb the dead, because there's dudes down in there they live on blood, and they're immortal, and and that's where they used to light the fires down in the catacombs, and that's where the stories you'd tell your kids, so they wouldn't go playing in the catacombs down in these caves with the dead. And they were orpires. They kept the fires lit, so when you went to visit your ancestors, it was all nicely lit up and clean, because that's what the orpires would do. That's what they looked after it all. They're very gaunt and pale because they wouldn't go out into the sun. That's where the mystery of vampires actually comes from. Oh, the truth is so cool. Which is the same. I haven't done a video about that one yet. I did the one about the witches, but I haven't finished my vampire one. I'm getting lazy.
You make videos, Isis?
Yeah. I've made a video on how to measure the Earth.
Nah, that's bullshit. I don't believe that. No one man can measure the Earth.
Yeah, it's pretty impossible, isn't it? I made one about witchcraft and what witches really were, and how they really did ride broomsticks, and have cauldrons, and they flew on broomsticks.
Hang on. Flew on broomsticks.
Yeah, you'll like this. You'll like this. You'll like the truth of it. They used to soak sticks in cauldrons full of fly agaric mushroom, and then they'd shove the stick up their arse or in their pussy, and they'd get high. They would fly.
I remember that. I've been told that. That's true.
Yeah.
So why didn't they just rub the mushroom on their pussy and just, be done with it?
It would kill you. It would kill you.
So they rub it on the stick, and then they ride the stick.
Yeah, because you could control the dose for how long you soaked it and for how long you held it up there. Yeah, it was a very primitive way, and that's why you see the Catholic Church, like the Vatican, move over into Northern and Eastern Europe and destroy that kind of thing, like saying, oh, it's Satanism, and oh, it's evil, and they go around at night, they're lunatics, they worship the moon, and and they created a whole bunch of lies, propaganda, so that they could justify killing 17.6 million of them, which we know as the witch burnings. And that was all motivated by the Vatican, and of course the House of Windsor went along, worked alongside of that and said, yeah, we can do that. It was to get rid of the use of fly agaric, because they'd been introduced to marijuana and opium, and the opiate trade was very much power base of these great houses. And if you look at the movie Dune, it's a parable of that. The spice is the heroin, and the giant worms is the silkworms, and they use the Silk Road to transport their opiates and the silk traders. And that Lipton, the Lipton tea, is named after a ship that was actually one of the best smuggling ships at the time. It was a twin-sail schooner, a very sharp, fast ship, and there was many jokes during the day that it never once carried a bushel of tea. It was always carrying opium, and that was the especially in the 15th, 16th, 17th centuries in France, Germany, England, the opium use was very prolific, very widely accepted as well. They made a hell of a lot of money off it, because you can go pick your own mushrooms, but opium, it comes from another land, so someone's making money off it, getting it over there, and that's where you see your mafias start to rise, and you see organised criminals, and still exist to this day. Those houses still exist to those day. Those shipping companies still exist to this day. They still own the same shipping lines. They even name their ships after those original ships and all that kind of stuff. And all those big shipping corporations, you can tie a lot of it back to the Vatican and the people of the Vatican. They even moved the castle brick by brick and called it the Vatican, and then hid in religion and said, oh no, we're all nice guys. But what was truly going on was something that people still to this day deny, and they denied back then as well. Because reality and the truth is not something that some people like to know. They want to see it as a religion, and they're all nice, and the Pope, and yay. But yeah, it's not the case at all.
Satanic worshippers behind closed doors or something.
No, well, the satanic worshippers were the Vikings. They made them out to there is no Satan worship at all. It's bullshit. It's all mysticism. They don't believe in that stuff. Who would? That's for the norm. That's for the sheeple to believe. You cover it in mystery and bullshit, so that people are scared of it. And it's funny that it turned back around on them, and people say you're satanic worshippers now, when they were actually the ones that created all that myth to smear the Vikings, man. Like, yeah, and the Anglo-Saxons, to completely smear them. It's propaganda. No one tells the truth like propaganda. It's how the royal houses were actually formed, Tom, especially in England. Not so much, but that was, the House of Windsor was formed due to the Vikings invading them, and they were pushed back. It was I forget his name. It starts with A. Arthur? No, it wasn't Arthur. It was, I forget now. But he hid in the swamps, and the Vikings couldn't find him. And then he united all the houses, and he formed what was called the Angleland, England, and Egbert and whatever, they all joined together and said, let's fucking get rid of the Vikings, and so they did. Yeah.
So they went after Ragnar Lothbrok.
Yeah, Ragnar was the last one to sort of invade, but his grandfather invaded them as well, and so did his father. They held lands in England for sure. The English were almost wiped out by them. Completely wiped out. Yeah. Oh, well, the kingdom was anyway. Yeah, they were almost enslaved by the Vikings. Egbert for a while was a puppet king. Yeah. What was his name? God, it wasn't Arthur. I always think King Arthur, but stupid brain. King Alfred. Yeah. Yeah, Alfred.
King Alfred.
And he became, King Alfred, and then he went off into the swamps and hid. And there's still a big stone there today in tribute to that, and it was the formation of England. It's attributed to the formation of England, like uniting everyone against a common enemy. And that's been a sort of parable to this very day, that, people will unite against a common enemy. And, they like to promote terrorism, but, even great leaders have spoken, like, what if there was an alien common enemy? Like, the whole planet would unite. But it was that thing that happened in England that, it's wow, everyone just forgets their little differences and drops their arguments, and they all unite against a common foe. And it was amazing to see that actually take place in history. Yeah. It's very interesting. Like, you see the Vatican, Rome forming the Vatican, and the Vatican, when you really, really read into it and don't just have a sort of cursory glance, you can actually see this spread, like this virus, as it's called, as they thought that, Egypt was built with slaves and blah, 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 but they knew that it wasn't, but they promoted the idea, and it was human farming, and then they sort of had this human farming model, and they built Rome based on that, and it worked, and that was like, well, let's create a new world order. Let's create the system of currency and money and enslave everyone with debt. And they're like, okay, let's do that. And so they spread out the new secular order. And ever since the days of Rome, since Caesar, that's been the model that these great houses have used. And they all go back to Rome. Some of them even go back to Egypt, such as the Bush family. And yeah, and they maintain the little bloodlines and think they've got leadership bloodlines and all that sort of stuff. But it's like, you inherit diet. You don't inherit genes in that way. It's the diet. You're not born fat. It's what your parents are eating. You eat what they eat, so you get fat too if they're fat. And it's the same with the leadership concepts that, those delusions that your father had, well, he'll hand his delusions down to you. And if they think, oh, we're the great leaders, and they've got everything to justify it, like all the money and power and resources, then of course you're going to have that same delusion and it's handed down generation after generation. So they feel justified in the guiding of the human race and farming of people and setting up all of this infrastructure. They fully feel
that's one of the main problems of humanity, isn't it? If everybody was taught better, if there was a real foundation of education for the whole world, people wouldn't grow up to be like that, would they? They wouldn't learn the negatives of their own fathers and mothers.
Yeah, if people, the more well-educated, the more sort of reasonable you be. And that's proven with like scientific minds. They were talking during the Cold War, and yet, politics and the general public couldn't, interact. They just hated each other. But yet, the more intelligent people were actually communicating openly and freely, sharing ideas and that, because they were intelligent. So they're like, well, they could see the childish behaviour, and they were like adults. So yeah, that's an interesting parable too. How you can see that, big thinkers don't think of religion and colour or creed or race or anything like that. It doesn't matter to them. Yeah. Even age.
They think in progress, don't they? They think about progress, reality, and what's going on there, and what they can do.
Yeah, Alfred the Great. Yeah, King Alfred for sure. I'm pretty sure it's Alfred. I'm going off very old memory stuff here that I've read. Sorry, I could get a lot muddled. I'm not trying to be some avatar of truth, but I know the path, but I just didn't pay attention to much of the houses on the road, if you know what I mean. Like, I didn't sit there and memorize every color. Like, who would do that? Like, they're just details. Why would you? The path that you took and where we are, and I know where we're from, but I didn't pay attention to every house and every color of every house, every tile and brick on the road on the way of our humanity's course. But I definitely know the path that we took and the movements we've made, so to speak, like psychologically and all that sort of stuff. And I think that's more important than knowing, oh, this happened at this exact time and on February 12th, blah, 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 They're just details. But I can always be wrong with that, and I admit that.
Tell us.
It's like a game of poker, basically. Lots of people lost, and lots of things went wrong. Was the game still going?
Yeah, I think everyone's starting to wake up to the human farming model. A lot of people are waking up to it, and they're actually seeing it. And there's assholes like me going, yeah, So people are definitely starting to see it and go, wow. And history, you can't rewrite history. You can try, but yeah, the evidence is there. It's just, and you live in it. So you can see all the houses coming out and, this residential rollout. So what the fuck's going on, It's mindless sort of, yeah, battery hens. What were you going to say? Sorry.
I was just going to say I was going to ask you to tell us a flat Earth story.
No.
You don't have any flat Earth stories?
No.
Damn, your history sucks, man.
Well, I could say the flat Earth was, a disgruntled dude, and he cashed in on people's, stuff.
I've heard this one.
Yeah. They're like, he's going to fall off the end of the Earth. He's doing this great discovery, and he'll fall off the edge of the Earth, and everyone's like, what? And suddenly this guy's like, yeah, the Earth's flat. And even though that was never the case. So yeah, it's kind
No,
of
we're a
weird.
planet. We're just like all the things in the sky. All them planets. We're the same, and we're just a planet.
Yeah, but we're important. Damn important. I mean, we might scan 1,000 worlds and not find life. We don't know. And that would only reveal just how important we are. And it should, like, you know, even the greatest powers should realize just how sacred human life is, and all life, and just how special this little blob of rock is. Because it is very, very special. And even if there is tons of life out there, we're still fucking special. You know, because we're conscious. We're doing shit. We're not cows. We're not monkeys. We're not, you know, we're not centipedes. We're actually building stuff and
Yeah.
thinking and counting and yeah.
Well,
So
you
maybe
say that, but
every
it just
time
sounds nice.
I was just gonna say, so every time someone imagines up an alien, that alien could be out there. You know, there could be a little tribe of that alien that you just drew out of nowhere. There's alive somewhere on one of them stars in the sky, or the planet.
That's often been spoken about, you know, that everything you possibly imagine, you're not actually imagining it, you're only receiving what the universe has already done. So there is no like imagination. That's really cool. I like that.
Yeah, I've
Amen to that.
actually heard that. Something about all the things that are invented now has already been invented or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because how can you make anything new when you're within everything itself? You know, you're just a component of what is. So everything you think of or make is what is.
So I can tell that the reason why I say that image that you're using isn't that old because it says Earth, and anything that goes back 2,000 years, the word Earth wasn't used. Earth was called terra firma. Yeah, it wasn't called the Earth at all. We
Yeah, I
weren't
think
Earth.
the only
We
reason
were
it's got that because there was a small English description above and below that picture in English. So I think obviously the just the pictures is old, but the words aren't. But I think I'll have to jump on Google again and see where it derived from.
Apsu Daume. Wonder what Apsu Daume means. Huh.
It reminds me of something like Mayans or really old Japanese or Chinese.
Yeah, man, yeah. Waters above the firmament. Huh. It's a bit weird. It looks like a Zerteticism thing. Dragons. Well, there's the Scottish story of Turnan Og where Slane rode a dragon called the Knucker. I love that story. Man, I love that story.
I haven't heard that one. From what age is that from? What age of people in Scotland?
5th century? Earlier? Probably earlier. Yeah. With Slaufeg the Horn God. And there was some Sumerian myth involved in that too. It was funny that the Celts had Sumerian lore. You know, Crom Quach, the earth maggot. Yeah. You could say that
What? So they were Nordic. This is Norse when they were Scottish. This is before pagan times and stuff, is it? I'm not too sure. But the chronological order of British people plus the invaders.
Yeah, it's just I just remember that story with Slain McRoth, and he wrote a dragon called the Knucker, and it had emerald scales, ruby eyes, and diamond bones, and it was freaky. It was like immortal, and the evil witch Meb summoned an interdimensional, like a non-physical dragon, like an interdimensional dragon, to kill it. And it couldn't kill it. They had this huge battle in the sky, and Slough Feg threw the spear of the sun at it and went through its head and killed it. And then Slain grabbed the spear of the sun and then used it as his own weapon. And the spear of the sun drove men insane because it would scream, would emit a sound. The spear of the sun's awesome, and they used to chain it down in a cauldron and fill the cauldron with blood, and it would drink the spear would drink the blood. And they tried to transport it on a ship, and all the men were driven crazy by it, except for the high priests, like the Droon Lords. And you could throw the spear in battle and say Ithbar, and it would go through, keep going. It would eat the hearts of men. It would keep going through their hearts, just non-stop until you said Igbar, and it would return to you. Some of those weapons.
It's a mental story. It's like an Ancient Aliens programs when they talk of the gods and the wars and the battles.
Yeah,
Cool
well, there's
story.
some sort of there was the like a reptile dudes they were called the sea demons, and they rose up from the sea in these flying ships, and they were pouring lava from their flying ships down on the earth, and that's like a description of flying ships with laser cannons, like pouring lava, and they burnt tons of men that way. But Slain went and slaughtered them all. He jumped up on their ships and started just smashing them all to bits. Yeah. He used the sword of the moon that could cut through any matter.
It's a bit like the time when people talk of giant stories, and it's like so long ago that who knows what's true, what's not. But it just sounds like a good story that you would tell around a fire, drunk, just talking about the myths and gods. If you was a person back at that time, and it was such a good story that it was kept, just like William Shakespeare. Romeo and Juliet were real, really. It's just art, I think.
Yeah, because I mean, Slain was this great warrior, and he would enter a thing called the warp spasm, and it was known that the druids would get people drunk. Like if they were ever faced with combat, they would get the men drunk, and they'd be really charged and fosters courage as we call it. But you sort of get that I'm immortal and young, and I'll go and run into battle, and you won't stop me and they'd be drunk, and they'd all drink from the cauldron and get pissed out of their brains, and then go out, run into battle, and die or whatever. But the Druins would empower them, and people thought it was elixirs of strength and spells that they were casting. But that's history proves that it was just mead, getting drunk. But Slain would enter this warp spasm, and they said he yelled at the enemy, and you could see his guts floating around inside his mouth, and his guts were flapping inside his mouth, and then there was black tar pouring from the top of his head, which would catch on fire, and his body would warp. He would become like one muscle to heave the axe into the ground and stuff like this. Really
This
good.
is a bit like
really
a NASA convention, isn't it? When they ask them questions and they answer, and it sounds. It goes on and on.
Yeah, Slain
Sorry,
McGoss.
I was trying to multitask, and as soon as you multitask when you listen to a story like that, you just get lost.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get what you're saying. It's cool stuff.
Yeah, I love the old myths that are lost. The really old, cool stuff. Lewis Spence, the Encyclopedia of the Occult, is a very, very good read. Highly recommend reading that. Lewis Spence is written.
I need to start reading soon. Is it late at night now then in Australia? I don't know.
No, Oh, it's only 9:30 then. No, I've had my dinner. I'm good.
Oh yeah, I was going to ask. So what do Australian people eat on a Sunday dinner? You know, because that's British. We have like a roast beef dinner, lamb, chicken. But what veggies do they have? Do they have like British gravy?
Yeah, all of that, all of that. Hell yes.
People eat on a Sunday dinner.
Yep, fish and chip shop just around the corner. Yep, all of that stuff. Yeah, we're still very English here.